Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hearties. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, joined once again by my friend Theresa from the Heartie Observer to chat about When Calls the Heart, Season 10, Episode 3, Oh Baby. It was written by Paul Redford and directed by Peter DeLuise. Tourists start arriving, including the St. Johns, who may prove to be trouble for Bill. Elizabeth rallies all of Rosemary's friends to plan the perfect baby shower. What were your first thoughts on this episode, Theresa?
So, I actually really enjoyed this one.
I did too.
Full disclosure, I do not like baby showers, whether in person or on TV, but I actually really enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun and yeah, it was just I continue to like how they're really bringing the community together this season,
Yeah.
and you can really see it in this episode, especially with
Yeah.
the women in town. They really came together to, make it
Yeah.
special for
Yeah.
Rosemary.
I loved that. I have to say that they might have spent a little too much time on the baby shower in the
Yeah,
episode, but I enjoyed seeing it nonetheless.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm biased, so I just don't like baby showers all that much.
I understand
As
that.
I'm a single gal. I have no
Yeah.
kids of my own. Baby showers are just kind of. So I'm
Yeah.
with you on that, but I'm sure there's someone out there who was in baby shower bliss. I
Yes.
don't know. It just wasn't
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
I've been to a few baby showers. The last one I went to, I think it was in February, like the end of February. It was pretty fun. And
Yeah.
one of the games we played, it was like a Jeopardy style game.
Ooh.
And it's with songs that had the name baby in it, like the word baby in it. I'm trying to remember. I didn't win, but I think I got like 1,000 points total.
Wow.
I
I mean,
think
that's better than I would have done. I would have been in the deficit.
I think I got 3 categories right.
That's great. Wow. That's fun.
Thanks. And
That
one
sounds
of
like a
them,
fun time.
funny. I actually knew the song because it was sung on American Idol.
Oh my gosh. That's really funny.
Like within seconds of the music starting to play, I was like, "Oh, it's Always Be My Baby" by Mariah Carey.
That's great. Wow.
Because David Cook had sung it on American Idol.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That's so fun.
Oh my goodness. But back to Hope Valley and episode 3. Do we want to start with Elizabeth and Lucas?
Sure. Yeah.
Little Jack we did not see in this episode, which is disappointing, but it's understandable.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see more of him next week.
Yes.
Uh from what I hear in the woodwork, he's going to be asking more questions about his dad in that
Yes.
episode with the birth happening and everything, but that's
Yes.
that's coming later. But yeah,
Yeah.
we did miss him in this episode for
Yes,
sure.
we did. And
Yeah.
actually, I think, if I'm correct, it might be this week's episode because the clip from the promo, or one of the promos where Elizabeth is putting the Mountie hat on Jack, she's wearing the
Mhm.
same shirt.
Yes, yes. And if you read there was a article released by Parade magazine today, and they
Yeah.
mentioned in that article that Jack would be asking questions about,
Oh,
yeah, so I'm excited for that. I think it's
me
gonna be
too.
cute.
I think it'll be a sweet scene.
Yeah.
Elizabeth's first scene in this episode is her in the classroom, which we both mentioned that we love.
Yeah.
She is teaching a lesson on science, and they get into a whole discussion about the groups for the project. Allie wants to know how the hot springs performed, and Cooper and Toby are interested in that too. So they join her team, and Bill will be their advisor. What did you think about this?
I thought that was cute. I was actually surprised that they picked Bill as the advisor
Me too. Yeah.
because like it's fun. It's super fun and of
Yeah.
course Bill has been up to the hot springs more than anybody. But
Yeah.
in my mind though, I was actually surprised that they picked him because the one who actually knows about geology from, like his time in the oil company
Mm-hmm.
would actually be Henry.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, "Oh, they're gonna pick Henry because he knows all of the geological type stuff."
Yeah.
And then when they didn't pick Henry, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah. That's
okay,
interesting.
interesting,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting choice." But I did have a lot of fun with
Yes.
Bill being the advisor.
Yes. And there is a connection to Henry and the hot springs, which we will get into a little bit later.
Mhm. Yes.
A very interesting connection. Elizabeth and Lucas in the saloon. I had to laugh when their kiss gets slightly interrupted by Jamie moving the sofa.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I think it brings me back to when Nathan was about to ask out Elizabeth back in season 7 and then the horse starts neighing in the background and he
Oh,
gets interrupted. I'm like,
yep.
yeah, the interruptions are just very
Yes.
prevalent in Hope Valley.
Or we already talked about this episode once. Rip interrupting Jack and Elizabeth in the New
Yes,
Year's movie.
yes, that too, that too. I can think of a million interruption scenes,
Or
literally a million.
or in season 1, in that scene when Jack and Elizabeth are in the jail and she confronts him about the little tiny painting of them on
Yes.
the backdrop, and Rip interrupts.
Yes, yes, I remember that. Yes. I'm trying to
Great
think of
episode.
other ones. There are quite a few interruptions out there. I
Yeah.
know way back in season 8 when Florence and Ned were first starting to,
Yes.
get together, they had to put up a little bell on the shop because they didn't want to get interrupted.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
I thought it was funny how Lucas says, "Why do people keep moving furniture?" And Elizabeth is like, "Maybe they're just trying to get more comfortable."
It's like, Elizabeth, bless your heart, but no,
Oh.
it's not their furniture.
He gives Elizabeth a cake that Gustav made for the baby shower. That looked like a good cake.
It really did. I mean, you had the chocolate drizzled on top. I was like, if I were
Mhm.
Elizabeth, I would have a hard time taking that to the party because I would feel tempted to just eat
Yes.
it myself. It looked
Me
really
too.
good.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. I am surprised we've heard a lot about Gustav this season,
Yeah, we
but we
haven't
still
seen him.
haven't seen him. I'm like, where is the master chef? Where is he? He's just cooking in the back kitchen all the time.
We
Yeah.
need to see Gustav.
We do, we do, and I know he's there
Yes.
because the actor who plays Gustav was definitely at the 100th episode party. So
Oh,
I
I didn't even
know
see
he's
that.
yeah, I know he's there. So wherever you are, Gustav, we're waiting for you.
Yeah. He's a great character. I'm glad that
He
he's on the
is.
show.
He's one of my like favorite side characters, which is probably
Yes.
why I'm noticing his absence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elizabeth at the cafe with Faith, Minnie, Molly, and Florence. They are having a meeting about the baby shower. Of course, we know from the previews that Rosemary still thinks it's the following week.
Mhm.
Minnie is making finger sandwiches, cucumber egg salad, and salmon pate. Florence has the flowers, and Ned ordered paper napkins with storks.
That was cute.
Yes, it was. Fiona will keep Rosemary busy at the salon with a new and special clay facial treatment.
Yeah, I mean, I am all in for any kind of like facial treatment, face masks. I am like the queen of face masks. So
Oh,
when they interrupted the facial in the episode, I was so disappointed. It's like I would have wanted the full thing and then the party. Thank
yeah.
you very much. Yeah.
Yes. You can't go wrong with a spa day.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And then May sees Rosemary because she's sitting outside at Abigail's reading a book. I love how she kind of like closes the book and just like sneaks inside. And then
Yeah.
she says their code word, cinnamon.
Yes. They definitely had this planned out, I will say. They even had
Yes.
a code word for
Yes.
Rosemary.
And Rosemary coming back inside and everyone acting like, oh, nothing's going on. That was hilarious.
Yeah. That was very, very funny. Yeah.
I don't know if I could keep a straight face. I'd probably spoil the surprise.
Yeah. I agree. I am so bad with surprise party type stuff.
Yeah.
Um, my sister had a surprise engagement party way back when she was engaged,
Yeah.
and I almost gave it away. Like out of like the 20 people that were gonna be there,
Oh my god.
I was almost the one who gave it away, and I was like, of course, I would be the one to almost give it away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but she didn't suspect a thing,
Yeah.
so it
Yep.
was all good. But yeah,
Yep. And that wink from Elizabeth as she's walking out, that was
yeah,
priceless too.
that was
She's
very
like,
funny. Yeah. Elizabeth had a lot of really good facial
yes.
expressions in this episode.
Yes, she did. I think I've heard her being referred to as the emoji queen or something.
Yeah.
Craig
The
emoji or something.
yeah. There's something out there, but yes, yes. I can see that. Yeah.
Yes. Elizabeth at home with Lucas. Now, this is the last scene with her and Lucas in this episode. They are tasting the wedding cake. Gustav made it with his and Lucas's grandmother's recipe, which is vanilla and lavender. It kind of made me laugh when Lucas says, nothing too fancy, of course. 5 tiers and chocolate rosettes with gold leaf, shipped from Paris. And then, of course, he's kidding.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. For a minute I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, he's serious. Oh no, they're going to have a fight." And then right at the end he's like, "I'm just kidding." And you're like,
kidding. It'll
"Oh,
be
okay." Yeah.
3 tiers.
I two things surprised me, or
Yeah.
three things surprised me about
Yeah.
this scene. The first one was that the cake had lavender in it,
Mm-hmm.
which I have heard from so many bakers that lavender is like, if you don't do it right, it tastes very bad, like soap, basically, I've been told.
Ooh.
So when I heard lavender, I was like, "Ooh, Gustav, that's risky, really risky." But I mean, if it's good, it's good. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's good. But when I
Yeah.
heard lavender, I was like, "Okay, bold choice, but okay."
Yeah.
I also thought it was surprising that the recipe and basically the cake flavor was picked out by Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting to me, like, this whole dynamic of it being Elizabeth's second wedding, but Lucas's
Mm-hmm.
first.
Yeah.
It's almost like Lucas is the one advocating for some of these bigger
Yeah.
aspects of the wedding, and I was like, "Oh, that's very different
Yeah,
than,
it is.
typical," and
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, that's very interesting."
Yeah.
And then
I
the
think so
third thing
too.
that surprised me was that, oh man, what was it? There was a third thing that surprised me about that scene, but I can't remember it now. I know Lavender and Lucas picking the cake was surprising to me. I can't remember
Yeah.
the third, but if I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring it up
Yeah,
right
you never
now.
know. Yeah.
Lucas informs Elizabeth about Henry. This is the part of the scene that bothered me when he was talking about using some of his old card tricks again. What did you think about that?
So I think I'm in the minority, or I don't even know, but I feel like I don't mind that some of his like season 6 Lucas qualities are coming out again. I don't mind that at all. In fact, I prefer that. But I don't like how in this scene they made it look like ends
Yeah.
justifying the means was okay. I was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's what I
I don't
was
know.
that's what I
Yeah.
was trying to say. The way it came across bothered me.
It's very in character for Lucas because
Mhm.
he actually did this same exact thing back in
Mhm.
season 6 with Jeanette,
Yes.
where, the card shark Amos Dixon was cheating in the
Mhm.
game, and so Lucas started cheating in the game.
Mhm.
And because of that, he was able to free her debt, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it came at that cost,
Yeah.
which is why I think this whole Jerome Smith situation, Jerome
Mhm.
Smith is lying about bribing the guy, and then Lucas
Mhm.
is lying about getting a confession from the guy.
Yeah.
So if this were to ever come up again, which I don't think it will, but if it ever did, Lucas could be in big trouble.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's risky. I'll say that. It's
Yeah.
very risky, and I
Yeah.
don't love the ends justifying the means. I don't love
Yeah.
that, but like I said, I don't mind aspects of season 6 Lucas coming back
Yeah.
into his character. So,
Yeah. Like I mentioned before, of course, I don't promote gambling, but I agree with you and feel the same way. I don't
mhm.
mind some of season 6 Lucas coming back
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. I guess the thing that confuses me a little bit about that scene where he says, "Oh, I'm gonna bring back some of my old card tricks. Is
Mhm.
that okay with you?" Is that basically he told Aunt Agatha in the episode before that he had put that behind him.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
basically, he
that's
said,
true.
"Oh, yeah, I don't do that anymore,"
Yeah.
basically. And then the next episode, he's doing it again, I
Yes.
guess, which is
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. I feel like I have a feeling that element of it is actually gonna come back later.
Yeah.
Like, I do not the Jerome Smith stuff per se, but maybe the gambling bit, I feel like
Mhm.
might come back later,
Yeah.
and he might, start making business gambles that might end up causing trouble. I don't know for sure, but that's
Yeah.
just my theory. And I'm
I think
totally
so.
not saying that because I don't like that aspect of
Yeah.
Lucas. Just
Yeah.
FYI, I actually do. I prefer when he's a little more mysterious.
Mysterious. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I don't know. Not there was some
Ye
gray area in
Yeah.
there, but overall the intention was good.
Yes, his
Yeah.
intentions were good. He had the right feeling behind it
Yeah. Mhm. Exactly.
to save Henry. And speaking of Henry, why don't we just talk about him in this episode?
Oh gosh.
The first
Um
scene we see with him, I thought it was nice. It was a short conversation with Jamie. It kind of made me laugh when Jamie walks up and he's like, "Hello, I'm Jamie. I'm visiting." And Henry's like, "Hello, I'm Henry. I live here."
yes, that whole scene I was like dying laughing cuz Henry Henry's reaction to Jamie coming up and asking him a bunch of questions, I that was so relatable. I'm like, "Yes, I've done that," where I'm just like, "Yep, yep." The kids will just keep asking
Yeah.
and you're just like, "Yep, yep."
Yeah. And I thought this next little exchange of dialogue was touching. Henry said, "I'm not going to be here that much longer." And Jamie says, "Where are you going?" And Henry says, "Prison." Jamie follows up by saying, "Oh, well, I hope you don't have to be there too long."
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
Yeah. That is definitely sweet.
Yeah.
And even though he like barely knows
Knows
Henry.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, he barely knows Henry, but he's still saying, "Oh, I hope you don't have to be there too long." Like
Yeah.
super sweet.
Yeah. The conversation in the saloon with Lucas and Jerome about Henry's case. Now, I didn't bring this up when we were talking about Lucas and Elizabeth because it's more related to Henry's storyline.
Right.
But in preparation for the hearing, Lucas was going through old files from the mine and came across a copy of a report from the engineer McCory regarding the safety. Lucas follows up by saying if Henry hadn't blown it up, then he and Jerome could have been liable for anything that happens. According to Jerome, McCory reviewed his findings and then disowned the report and changed his mind. Of course, Lucas is like, after he was visited by someone at his home in Black Creek. Someone being Jerome.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
According to Jerome, it's a moot point because McCory sadly passed away about a month ago.
Yeah. I do find it interesting that Lucas did the whole like story about keeping contact with McCory,
Mm-hmm.
but he still didn't know McCory died, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that should have tipped off Jerome Smith a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just me being nitpicky. But for me, if I were a guy in a middle of a game of poker, I would have been like, "Oh, he didn't know he died." Like
Yeah.
that tells me you haven't been corresponding for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Which we'll get to
Yeah.
in just a second.
Yes.
The next meeting that Lucas has with Jerome at the saloon, McCory left Lucas a signed confession. Lucas had been in correspondence with him regarding his initial report and why he may have changed his mind. Lucas asked if he would provide a written statement since he was too sick to attend the trial. Of course, we think, as Lucas says, that he was sent the signed confession by McCory's wife after he died. Jerome wants to read it, but Lucas says, "Not until the judge does." And then Jerome is like, "What if it's a forgery?"
What if it's a forgery? Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. I
Yours,
mean,
yours was pretty good too.
oh, thank you. Thanks. I'm not bad at a British accent or that I can take pride in. I'm horrible at literally every other accent, but British
What if it's
accent
a
I can do that.
what if
But
it's a
anyway,
forgery?
yeah, Jerome just he's he's not my favorite character,
No.
but he does deliver his lines with a lot of zest. It's
Yes.
very yeah, I like hearing him talk even if I don't love his
But
character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lucas wants the judge to decide for himself whether it's a forgery or not. And then he goes on to say, "It'll be your word against mine. You know it accuses you of bribery. You know you're guilty." The new piece of evidence could cause a whole other trial where Jerome is the defendant, not Henry. And then, of course, Jerome wants to know how this just can all go away. And this is where I was like, "Oh, Lucas, you're good. You are good."
Uh-huh.
He tells Jerome it can all go away if he informs the judge he's reconsidered the veracity of the charges. Henry Gowan walks a free man, and he's on the next train out of Hope Valley. And Jerome's like, well, I guess I better stop packing my bags.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I know they're trying to wrap up this plot line, and
Yeah.
I admire that, and I'm fine with them wrapping it up because the oil storyline is just super confusing. We
Hmm.
all know that. But I do feel like Jerome gave in very easily. Like, I feel like if I were in Jerome's place, if I were a villainous, like ill-intended, guy,
Yeah.
I would at least want to see the signature on the letter, even if I didn't read the letter,
Yeah.
basically. I would have wanted to at least see the signature
Hmm.
to prove that it was real, but the fact that Lucas doesn't want him to see the letter is suspicious.
Yes.
But, like at the same time, it's like, we gotta move the plot line along,
Hmm.
which I'm fine with. I don't want to
Yeah.
belabor the issue, but to me, I was like, okay, that was really fast,
Yeah.
basically.
Yes. The look on Mike's face when he pulls the confession out of the envelope was
Yeah.
priceless. He's like,
He's like, well played. Well played. Yeah.
I was too. I was like, yes, Lucas.
Yes. Yeah. No, my dad, he was watching the whole thing and he's like, Lucas put it there's no letter inside, and then when there wasn't, he was like, yeah, I got it right.
I was
He's
like,
always very
yeah,
proud when he predicts what's gonna happen. He was
yes,
cheering for
yeah.
Lucas. Yeah.
At the same time, I was like, yeah, Jerome can just go. He can just go
Yeah.
back. He
Yeah.
can leave.
I have no problem with Jerome leaving for sure. And I was very like, it was I love those like moments of like,
Yeah.
like the big reveal of some kind of like really
Hmm.
masterful plan. So
Yeah.
for me, I was like, I love this scene. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if I did think Jerome
Yeah.
would have questioned a little further, I think it
Hmm.
was great. I thought it was
Yeah.
great.
It was a good scene.
Yeah.
Henry finds out about everything. Jerome getting on the next train out of Hope Valley and the charges being dropped. He goes to talk to Lucas about it, and he doesn't seem too happy.
Yeah.
Why, Henry? People are trying to help you.
Oh my gosh. He's like, great, now I'm gonna have to find another way to go to jail. I'm just like, Henry, you're being given a second chance. Take the second chance and use your life to do good.
Yeah,
Don't go
yeah,
to prison. I don't
yeah.
know. Uh, Henry, come on.
Ah,
Come on, man.
yeah. I do like how Lucas says, I wasn't going to let a good man and a good friend go to prison for doing the right thing. But if you think that's wrong, I apologize. There's been some talk about that line from Lucas. What did you think?
Um, to be completely honest, when I watched the episode, I actually didn't hear it because my family was talking over the episode, so I didn't hear it. But I heard about it later, and I really appreciate Lucas calling Henry a good friend
Mm-hmm.
and a good man because that kind of reinforces
Mm-hmm.
that, Henry is
Yeah.
worth saving and
Yes.
they have reached that friendship.
Yeah.
I don't think he needed to apologize at the end. I'm just like, he's doing the right thing. You don't need
Yes.
to apologize for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like, you don't have to have, like, some kind of, like, you know, backup plan if you think that the right thing is actually the wrong thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
basically, I think Lucas should totally own up to the fact that he did a good thing,
Yes.
basically, is what
Mm-hmm.
I mean by that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it was wrong for him to
Yeah.
apologize, but I am saying that if he did a good thing, he did a good thing.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts
Exactly.
on it?
I feel the same as you. I don't think that he did the wrong thing. I mean, he
Yeah.
was trying to help, but I
Yeah.
do appreciate that he did apologize even though it wasn't needed.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. That is fair.
Because, I mean, you never know how people are going to react to things like that.
That's fair. Yeah. And in Henry's case, he's definitely not reacting
In a
the
good way.
way. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it was a really really great scene between
Yes.
them two.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
Mhm.
Do we want to get to Nathan and Allie? Two of our
Yeah.
favorites.
Yes.
We got some scenes with them in this episode, which I was happy about. Still not enough, but we
I
got
know.
we got
Yeah.
some.
I think at this point, we in the 3 episodes that we've already seen, we've gotten more in the 3 episodes than we got
Mhm.
the entire season 9, and I know
Yeah.
there's gonna be even more coming down the road.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I'm just happy we're getting them at all, honestly,
Yeah.
because Allie wasn't even in Hope Valley at this point last year.
Yes.
She was
That's
still
right.
gone with her
Yeah.
grandparents, so I'm just just
Yeah.
grateful for whatever we can get. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Episode 4 she came in season
Mhm.
9?
No, 5, it was all the way in
Oh
5.
yeah, it was 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost half the season there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nathan sees Faith outside the infirmary. He wants to know if she's still going on her rounds and thinks that she still needs an escort. Faith mentions she's more than capable of fending for herself, but can ask Mike or Robert. Nathan's on the mailman.
It's like, "The mailman? Are you kidding me?"
Uh,
Yeah, I feel like that's a low blow for Faith to say that. Ugh,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Faith kinda has me ripping my hair out a little bit this season.
yeah.
I get that she's strong and independent and can do everything on her own. I'm fine with that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I just feel like I said, it's a little bit of a low blow to
Hmm.
say like here's this guy who's willing to go with you and then you're saying, "No, I'll find another guy." It's
Yeah,
like, "Why? Why? Why do you need to find another
yeah,
guy? This guy is fine helping you."
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I love Faith, but I feel the same way. She is not my favorite this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked her last season. This season she's rubbing me the wrong way a little bit, but I'm
Yeah,
hoping
she'll
that
improve.
she'll,
Yeah,
snap out of it.
yeah.
I'm hoping she will. Right now though, I'm just like, "Come on, girl."
Come on, snap out of it, Dr. Carter.
Yeah, like how could you say no to a handsome Mountie going with you on your rounds? How can you say no to that? I don't know.
I know. And if I remember correctly, in the season 4 Christmas movie, which I just watched the other day,
Mhm.
when she was having dinner with Elizabeth and they were talking about the Mountie Ball, she's like, well, if you see any other Mounties, let me know or send them my way.
Exactly. Literally, I saw that scene the other night and I'm just like, Faith, come on, this is your Mountie Bachelor that you were asking for. Here he is.
Yeah,
And
let's see, 6 seasons ago.
yeah, and it's like, he's here. You might as well go with him. I don't know. Faith, get it together.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Nathan decides that Faith needs police protection with the bandit still at large, so he is escorting her on her rounds, whether she likes it or not.
I did appreciate that he didn't back down.
Yeah, me too.
Because yeah, I know there's a lot of people out there saying like, "Oh, Nathan never like initiates or makes the
Mhm.
first move or Nathan's like, he's a wimp because he never like steps up to the plate." I'm like,
Mhm.
"No, here he is. He's stepping up to the plate in this
Yeah.
moment." And I think he's really, like He's like, "No, I know she's gonna go alone if I don't go with her because she's not actually gonna ask Mike and she's
Nope.
not actually gonna ask the mailman."
Robert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's like, "I'm making the executive decision
Yes.
that I am going." And I
Yes.
appreciated that.
Me too. Nathan and Faith go on a walk and they see the beautiful view in front of them. Nathan says, I've been up here many times. It's never looked like this. As he looks at Faith.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting because I almost felt like that particular line and the whole like scenario
Yeah.
was kind of metaphorical about
Yeah.
how he feels about her because they've lived together for years. He's seen her many times.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around her many times, but he's never seen her this way before.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the field, he's been there many times, but
Mm-hmm.
it never looked like that
Yeah.
before. And I
Yeah.
think it kind of symbolizes that he's looking at her in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he wasn't actually looking at the field when he was talking about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, before I get to the next part of the scene, I have a question. Is that Jack's land?
That is
Because
a very disputed question about this scene
because
because
to
yes,
it looks very similar to the land that Jack and Elizabeth were on when he returned from the Northern Territories in season 5 and they were looking at the house plan.
yes, I do think it's the same land, even if it wasn't for the purposes of the scene supposed to
Yeah.
be. I do think it was Jack's land, and because of that connection, it actually did remind me a lot of the scene where Jack and Elizabeth were looking at the land and he's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, do you like it here? Because it's
Yeah.
mine," that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Of course,
Yes.
obviously, Jack and Elizabeth, they were much further along in their
Yeah.
relationship. But yeah, it reminded me a little bit of that scene.
I just thought it was interesting. And from promo shots that have already been released, we know that there's going to be some kind of land dispute because there's that one photo of Elizabeth on the horse at what looks like the same
Hmm.
land.
Yeah, and it looks like they're actually like doing some digging in that land.
Yeah.
And there's some surveyors and stuff. So I
Yes.
do think that is going to be an issue
Come
later
back
on.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's gonna specifically relate to Nathan and Faith, but I do think it's gonna, that is definitely gonna come back later,
Yeah.
I think.
It
Yeah.
just makes me wonder because Elizabeth is the one that's there. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It could be
yeah,
maybe possibly they're trying to develop that
something.
area more because of the hot springs and they
Hmm.
want to, build more houses and things like that. And of
Yeah.
course, like Hope Valley is Hope Valley, so they
Yeah.
probably don't want that. And
Yeah.
I'm guessing that in that ballpark is
Yeah.
what's going on, but we will
Yes.
see because I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just me
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Nathan and Faith. All of a sudden, they hear Scout barking and he sees or hears something and then runs away. Nathan goes after what he thinks is the bandit. But I'm jumping ahead a little, but it's not the bandit. It's a squirrel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it it was funny to me because you have Nathan who's a Mountie and the dog barks and this is a failed Mountie dog, mind you.
Yeah.
So when the dog barks and he's automatically like, "It's a bandit," I was like, "No, it's not." Or at
Oh,
least you don't have to like get on the horse, get on the wagon,
no.
ride away at full speed. I was just like, "No."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Not his finest hour as a Mountie.
No. Faith is like, how about you? Nothing broken? Just my pride.
Yeah. I did think that line was funny, but
Yes, it was.
yeah. I was like, "No, no, no."
Yeah. Jumping back a little, Allie at the hot springs with Cooper, Toby, Bill, and Jamie, they are doing research for the project. Cooper saw a crack in the rocks with bubbles coming out. I read in parentheses in my notes, he was under the water a long time.
He was under there for a good, like, 2 minutes at least. I was like,
When we
"Did we
were
all forget about Cooper? Did he die? Did we?"
when we were watching, my dad was like, where's the other kid? Is somebody gonna get him? Somebody needs to get him.
Yes! I was like, "Cooper's been down there for a very long time."
And then when he comes up out of the water, I was like, oh, there he is.
Yeah, and he wasn't even breathing hard when he came up. It's
Oh
like,
my
"This
gosh.
kid has some lungs, that's for sure."
Oh my goodness. But
Yeah.
the cracks that Cooper saw with the bubbles coming out, it makes a geological fissure. This is not related to the hot springs, but I kind of laughed when Jamie started copying Bill with the
Yes,
pose.
that was pretty funny, yeah. I also, there was a line in there where, Jamie is talking about his school,
School.
and Allie's like, "Oh, well, what about the girls?" And he's like, "It's the top school in the country. What?" They're
Or the
like
state, yeah.
basically implying that girls don't belong there. And she's like, "What do those two things have
I
anything to
think,
do with each other?"
yeah,
I was like, "Wow, Allie, is,
yeah,
really embracing that like independence." And I appreciate
yes,
that.
I
Yeah,
did
I
too.
really liked to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a good scene. Allie doing her
Mhm.
research
Yeah.
with Cooper and Toby and Jamie, of course, and
Yes.
Bill.
And Bill, yes. Bill was more of a referee in that scene than even a, advisor.
Yes, yeah,
He was just there to make sure that they didn't,
yes,
fight with each other.
yeah. After all that research, we get one last scene with Nathan and Allie for this episode, and it is a short talk with Henry. Allie informs him that the hot springs were formed when he blew up the mine. The explosion created a crack in the earth that allowed water to escape from a stream underground. Did you see this coming? I think my dad did.
Yeah, I actually, even before the kids were doing a research project, I was like, the only way the hot springs could have formed and
Was
nobody
the
have found them is the explosion,
explosion.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, that's the only way to explain any of this being here for, no one having discovered it until now.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, it was just that was just kind of the logical
Yeah.
explanation. And so when they actually said it out loud, I was like, "Oh, I was right."
Yay! You were right.
Yeah.
But yes, let's see. We have Lee saving the town, and now we have Henry saving the town.
Who knew? Who knew Henry would be the one to save the town someday? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think he could have even guessed that
I
10
don't think
years
so,
ago.
yeah. Because he's just like, "Oh, I just blew up something," and now it's like, "No, you saved
Save the
the town's
town.
economy because now they have the hot springs and the
Yeah.
tourists," and
Yes.
yeah.
Moving on to Lee and Rosemary, my favorites. The conversation at home. They are clearing space for the nursery. He
Mhm.
wants to make it his personal project, which I loved how
Yeah.
enthusiastic he is about the baby. Of course, by now, Elizabeth has arrived. She came to check on Rosemary and see how she's doing. And the two women, they talk about the nursery. Rosemary wants it to be spacious, warm, and sunny, and include a crib, table, curtains, and wallpaper.
I'm hoping that Lee already, like, put it up at that point because they are getting close to the due date,
Yeah,
and if they wanna get that wallpaper up and have it ready to go, they better start chop chop and, get that up.
yeah. Either baby bunnies, lambs, or butterflies. What would you pick for the
I would
wallpaper?
pick probably baby bunnies.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because they're
think
they're kind of neutral, but at the same time they're really cute.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
Elizabeth offers Rosemary a muffin, but she can't take it because she feels sick.
Mhm. Yep. I think it was so accurate, that little part, because she takes a bite of the muffin, she's like, "Oh yeah, I want it," and then like 2 minutes later, she's like, "Oh, I can't." And my sister has just recently been pregnant and given birth, and
Oh,
so when she was going through cravings, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I would love some of that," and then 2 minutes later, she'd be like, "Oh, I can't finish it. Like it's making me
yeah.
sick," and I was like,
Oh,
that's very accurate."
yes, exactly.
Very, very accurate depiction of pregnancy, for sure.
Yeah. Of course, I've never been pregnant, but I've
Me
heard
neither, yeah.
stories.
Me neither, I've just witnessed it.
Yeah. As it gets closer to the birth, Rosemary is more eager and nervous.
Yeah,
It's tough seeing her nervous, but it's understandable at the same time.
yeah. I think I was expecting more of, like, Rosie to be very, like, bubbly about the whole
Mhm.
thing and very,
Yeah.
like, excited and ecstatic,
Yeah.
basically. And like you said, it is a little hard to see her, very doubtful about how
Mhm.
it's gonna go, or
Yeah.
just very, like, afraid about it.
Mhm.
It is pretty hard, and I think that's gonna continue for a little while, which is hard also to know that, but
Mhm.
I think once she gets past that hump,
Yeah. I think
she's
so too.
gonna she's going to love motherhood once she
Yeah.
gets past that hump, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think back to what was it? Season 3 Rosemary, like before the landslide, and
Yes.
she and Lee were meeting with Pastor Frank, like
Yes.
the pre-marriage counseling, and she's like,
Yes.
"Children, they're so sticky."
And children wear diapers. Do you know
Know
what's
what's
in
in
those
those things?
diapers? Yes. Yes. That scene is iconic. It's so funny.
Lee's expression is priceless.
Yes. He's just like, "What?"
He's like, "You don't want kids?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They go into talking about the baby shower. Rosemary made a list of suggested activities, and Elizabeth thinks of a reason she needs to go. She's like, "Oh, look at the time. I need to go to school."
I mean, bless Elizabeth's heart, but she is not good at keeping a secret.
No,
She's not even, like, subtle. It's so obvious that
no,
she's
yeah,
hiding something. I just
yes,
thought that was super
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
I mean,
What?
we saw that in, season 9 too,
Yeah,
when Lucas planned that surprise party for her and then she
yes,
found out, and then you have her, like, pretending that she's surprised. It's like, you know, yeah.
yeah,
Acting is not her thing. There's a reason why Rosemary is the actress and
yes,
not Elizabeth.
yeah. I loved how Rosemary like figured it out right away because she
Yes.
already knew.
She's like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah. Elizabeth leaves, and then Lee comes back down with a trunk that Rosemary has not opened yet, and she doesn't really want to. What could be inside that trunk?
My first thought when I saw the trunk and Lee said it hadn't been opened yet, it kinda made me laugh a little bit because back in season 7, Lee also had a trunk that he hadn't opened with pictures of his sister and his family and everything. I'm like,
Oh, that's
how many
right.
how many trunks and, like, things in storage have they just not opened over the years?
That's
I'm so
right.
curious, yeah.
Me too. I hope we
Yeah,
see her open it.
I think we will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think we will.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny though that they each had like that elusive trunk that made it into the house like through moving day and everything like
Yeah.
that, and nobody opened it. Like
Yes.
both of them had a trunk. I just thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
But I'm
guess
excited to see what's inside.
would be it has something to do with her mom.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
And then the kiss on the cheek from Lee
Mhm.
and the hug was sweet.
Yeah. So sweet.
Rosemary at the salon with Elizabeth, Fiona, and May. That was hysterical.
That was really funny. Yeah. Especially when Elizabeth is like, they're planning to do "Don't Say Baby," and she's like,
Baby.
oh, "Don't say baby."
Baby?
Yeah, I hate that
That
game.
guy. Yeah.
And Elizabeth's like, "I know, I know."
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was probably my the funniest moment for me was when
Yeah.
Elizabeth's like, "I know." The
Yeah.
outrage.
Yes.
And then she takes the cucumbers and just chucks them. That was funny.
Yeah. Elizabeth, Fiona, and May distracting Rosemary from seeing everyone with the decorations walking by. Elizabeth is just
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
oh, and
That
May
was
is like
hilarious. May's just like, "Yep."
rubbing her temples.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I can't remember what Fiona was doing, but she was doing something too.
Yeah. It was
Keep
interesting to
Rosemary's
me how,
laughing.
right before they left for the shower, Rosemary said, "Oh, May and Fiona, you 2 should go into business together."
Yeah.
I was like, "Maybe that's gonna be something later on, you
I
never
wonder
know."
too. I think that would be
Yeah.
nice to see
I
them
think
work
so,
together.
because we've seen quite a few trailers where they're actually in scenes together, but we haven't
Yes.
seen the scenes yet, like them drinking soda
Mhm.
pop and stuff. So
I
that
was
tells
about
me,
to mention that one.
yeah, which
Yeah.
tells me they are gonna be together in some
Some
way, shape,
way.
or form.
Yeah.
So we will see. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they leave, Elizabeth and Rosemary, they talk on the way to the cafe. Rosemary thinks they should call the clay mask Hope Springs Healing, Hydrating, and Mountain Balm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
That's a long name.
that's a very long name. And I don't think anyone would buy it because they don't know what it is.
Nope,
Yeah.
not at all.
They open it up and it's just mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get the surprise baby shower, which we talked a little bit about earlier. All the women made hats with lace, ribbons, and buttons. And then I loved seeing all the support for Rosemary. That was really
Yes.
sweet.
Yes.
I
I
think,
really liked it was a very heartfelt
yeah.
moment when, they're all kind of, you know, giving her words of encouragement.
Yeah.
It did remind me a little bit of the episode where they were, Jack's funeral, and all of the
Hmm.
widows meet with Elizabeth and are
Yeah.
giving her little pieces of advice and,
Mhm.
encouraging her. It's
Yeah.
something they do. The women
Yes.
of Hope Valley, they all come together in that way.
Yeah.
And Rosemary wasn't there for that conversation with
Yeah.
Elizabeth and the other women because she's not a widow.
Yeah.
But this time it was all the mothers,
Hmm.
giving her encouragement, and
Yes.
Fiona and May because they're not mothers.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was just very sweet.
Yeah. Although I do wish we had seen Allie at the baby shower because Angela was there.
To be completely honest, I actually didn't mind that Allie wasn't there, just because I actually like that she's not quite considered an adult yet.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
I'm
true.
not I'm
Yeah.
not ready for her to be an adult yet. Like,
That's
I'm just
understandable.
not
Yeah.
mentally ready for that. I still
Yeah.
need her to be a kid for a little longer,
Yeah.
so I was okay with that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I was like, well, Angela's there, would be fun. But at the same
Yeah.
time, yeah, I think part of
Yeah.
me mentally is like, oh, I'm not ready to see Allie,
Yeah.
as a woman just yet.
Yeah.
That's a big step.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
it does make sense that Angela was there because her mom was there. So,
right, exactly, yeah.
Speaking of Minnie, I think that was my favorite part of the baby shower. Her talking
For
about
sure.
her family's candle tradition, which is when it's getting closer and the baby is almost here, that's when they get word to each other to light their candles and keep them lit until there's a new little child in the world, so you know you're not alone.
Mhm.
Really beautiful.
It's very beautiful. And fun fact about that scene, I actually was listening to the Heart to Hearties
Mhm.
podcast, and actually with that particular scene with the candle
Mhm.
tradition, that's actually something that Lindsay Sturman, the
Oh,
showrunner, her family does
wow.
that. Yeah, they actually do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's how they incorporated that into that
Oh,
scene.
that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I really liked that. And it
Yes.
kind of gives me some reassurance that the candlelight vigil that we're going to get later is not because Rosemary is like in dire danger or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
encourages me that, oh yeah, they're just doing the tradition, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not like when Jack had pneumonia and was on death's door, and yeah, it was it's not like that. So, yeah.
I just watched that episode too. That is one of the most beautiful episodes of
I have to
TV,
say
in my opinion.
that one is, in my opinion, the best episode of When Calls the Heart ever,
It's
I
one of the
think.
best, yeah. It's
Yeah,
up there
that
for me too.
one. Yeah, that one, and the one where Jack leaves for the Northern Territories are the two best, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think both of those are in my top 5, which
Yeah.
I talked about in the top 10 before season 10 episode.
I need to go back and listen to that because I'm really curious now. What was your number one? What's your number one?
Take a wild guess.
Let me think. Is it the Jack and Elizabeth wedding episode?
Nope.
No.
It's
Okay.
it's on my list though, but it's not his number 1.
Okay. Okay. Is it from season one?
Nope.
No. Hmm. I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me. I
You
can't guess.
actually just mentioned it.
Oh. Okay, wait. Is it the one where he leaves for the Northern
My
Territories?
heart will go on is number 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, cuz yeah, that one's probably the one I watch the most. I will watch that one over and over and over
Yeah.
again and never get tired of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
another one that is one of the most beautiful episodes in
Oh
TV.
yeah. Oh yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. There's
Yeah.
so many moments in that
Yeah.
episode, and it's like that episode is packed of
Mhm.
insanely amazing scenes, and that's one of
Yes.
the reasons why I love it, because it's literally like one good scene after another, and you're just like, oh, oh, I can't take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a little off track there, going down memory lane with past When Calls the Heart episodes and seasons. But back to season 10 When Calls the Heart and Lee and Rosemary's storyline in this episode. We get a sweet scene with Rosemary and Elizabeth at the cafe having tea, and they are talking about the baby shower. I thought this was a really nice moment. Elizabeth says, "A big part of motherhood is supporting other mothers." And Rosemary says, "I see that I not only have a best friend who is like a sister to me, but I have a whole family."
hmm I love whenever they bring in the family aspect of Hope
Yes.
Valley, and
Mhm.
there is not just a town or a community, it is a
Yeah.
family, and everyone cares about
Mhm.
each other, and I
Yeah.
really like that they're going back in that direction in this
Yeah.
season,
Me too.
especially here for Rosemary, because
Yeah.
she's the one who needs it right now.
Yes. I know I've said this before, but I just love seeing how far Elizabeth and Rosemary have come in 10
Hmm
years.
Yes, it's impressive.
Yes. From the woman who was drawing the mustaches on Jack's drawing of Elizabeth.
I wonder if she ever told Elizabeth about that. I'm curious.
Oh my gosh. To now, where they're basically like sisters.
Yes, they've definitely come a long way.
Yeah.
And they're gonna come an even longer way once Rosemary goes into labor, because
Labor.
that's
Yeah.
that's a very bonding experience. So
Yes.
yeah, to kind of go through that
Yeah.
together.
To wrap up Lee and Rosemary's storyline in this episode, we get a nice scene with them at home. He surprises her with a bassinet and a rocking chair that he made with help from Joseph. He plans on making a high chair, a swing for the backyard, and a crib as well. And he says, "You are going to be the perfect mother."
Hmm, really sweet. I
Yes.
always, yeah, Lee is just model husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah,
be a great dad too.
he is. Now we know that little Jack has a godfather and then guardians. Who do you think it will be for Lee and Rosemary's child?
I am guessing that the godparents or the guardians, at least one couple, will be Lucas and Elizabeth probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm guessing for the other two, um hmm I I need to think about that. Maybe Joseph and Minnie, probably.
I was gonna say Joseph and
Yeah,
Minnie.
Joseph and Minnie would be my guess, I would say.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to see that.
Mhm.
Moving on to Bill in this episode. He didn't have many scenes, but the ones he did have were pretty funny. The first one is right at the beginning of the episode. It is a conversation with Ned. Okay, Ned has apparently started offering bicycle rentals in town. What can he do?
I mean, Ned is just, I don't know. He's just this inventor in Hope Valley who created not only products but concepts like renting bikes, or he's good at photography.
Yeah,
He's good at so many things, and it's like, why isn't this guy in our history books? Like,
I know.
yeah, like I've never heard of Ned Yost until I watched When Calls the Heart.
Or Rothgar Matthews.
Yeah, I mean, he's just that talented. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Of course, Bill isn't happy, but Ned says it's good for business. And I love how Bill's like, do you have to encourage?
It's like, Bill, we talked about this last time. It's good for the town.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Poor Bill. He does
Yeah.
he does not like change.
Nope.
He's always the one who's like super kerfluffled about anything new being introduced, whether it's the telephone or
Yeah.
cars or, whatever it is. He's always like very like, no, things have to stay exactly the way they are. And it's
Yes.
like, hey, he'll eventually come
Yeah.
around.
And speaking of cars, the St. John's parked at the hitching post.
They took his spot.
Yes. And
Yeah.
of course, Bill isn't too happy about that. He comes into the saloon. Lucas and Mike are standing there. And of course, Madeline and Jamie. Bill's like, these new people need to learn to follow the rules. And Madeline turns and she's like, you're absolutely right.
Oh, she can see right through him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The St. John's are from Philadelphia. Jamie to Bill, he's like, are you a real cowboy?
Ah, I mean, it just goes to show that Jamie obviously does not get out much, because if you
Mm-mm.
think that someone's a cowboy just because they ride a horse, either they live in a very modernized town and there
Yeah.
are no horses anymore, or he just doesn't get out much. But
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
think that was funny.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bill was almost tempted to say, yes, I am a real cowboy.
Yeah. Bill has a usual at the saloon now, which is coffee with way too much sugar, as Mike says.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yep.
I would have expected Bill to be a black coffee kind of guy with no sugar, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess everyone has their signature thing. So
Well, after Mike says that, Bill, he's standing at the table with Madeline and Jamie, and he turns around and he's like, "Where's my coffee?"
yeah, that was pretty funny.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Moving on to Madeline and Jamie in this episode. They got a few scenes, and of course, they are new characters and new to Hope Valley. This scene, we saw it in a promo. Jamie continuously ringing the bell.
Mhm. That was really funny.
Yeah. And
Just
then
like
Lucas
ding ding
puts
ding
it
ding ding.
away. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Madeline stops by the cafe looking for directions to the mayor's office, but she finds
Yeah.
him meaning Bill, there. They have a conversation. Her husband, Sebastian, recently passed, and she's traveling out west to settle his affairs. She saw the article about the hot springs and thought about giving it a try. She wants Bill to give her and Jamie a tour of the town.
I am curious because her husband died
Yeah.
and she says, "Oh, I want to give the hot springs a
Hmm.
try." Part of
Yeah.
me is like, does she have some kind of illness too
I
that
don't
she wants treatment
know.
for? Is she just like curious? I mean, I
Yeah.
also have a theory that she was sent there to scope it out by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what it is, but Bill didn't really ask as many
No.
questions as I would have
No.
probably.
We get another scene, and it's with Jamie and Bill. They are talking about the soda fountain, horses, and bikes. Jamie's like, "How do you decide whether to ride a bike or a horse?" And he's joining Allie, Cooper, Toby, and of course Bill at the hot springs for the science project. And I think it was Cooper who asked if he knew how to ride a bike. And Jamie mentions how he learned how to ride on the Champs Elysees. And Toby's like, "The Champs de what?" Oh my goodness.
That was
That
pretty
was,
funny.
yeah, that was hilarious.
Mhm.
And the last we see of them in this episode is at the saloon. Madeline is on the phone with someone. We don't know who it is. And she says, "These are nice people. Are you sure this is the only way?"
Yeah. I feel like
Uh,
it's become a classic when calls the heart trope to have the new character make a sketchy phone call. I feel like I mean, I'm thinking back to Lucas in season 6 when he was making a phone call to Jeanette and he's like, "Oh, Hope Valley's perfect." And like of
oh
course
yeah.
everyone out of context that sounds sketchy. Just
Yeah.
like, I'm sure, with her, it sounds sketchy, although it sounds
Yeah.
more sketchy than Lucas, because she's like, "Oh, these
Yeah.
are good people. Are you sure you wanna go
Yeah.
through with this?" And that tells me she's probably working for someone with ulterior motives, and she knows it, but
Mm-hmm.
she's also a good person, so I think she is in trouble, possibly,
Mm-hmm.
or at least
Yeah.
under somebody's thumb, and I do think, Bill being Bill, he's gonna help her out of it.
He's gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what it is.
I'm very curious, but at the same time, I'm not like curious enough where if they didn't tell us next
Yeah.
week, I wouldn't be upset. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, I kind of want to see how this
Yeah.
plays out.
I doubt we'll figure it out next week. I highly
Yeah,
doubt it.
I
Or
highly
this
doubt
week. Yeah.
or any of the next like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is gonna involve the hot springs
Yes.
and some kind of like business venture. I do think that's
Yeah.
gonna be part of it.
Yeah.
So we will see.
Yes. Before we wrap up, why don't we just talk about that preview for this week?
Yes, it's a big week.
Yeah.
We have Rosemary going into labor. That is going to be huge.
Yeah.
The whole town is coming together to help her out, and I love that.
Yeah.
I think back on a interview that Pascal did back in like maybe January or something,
Mm.
and she said that the interviewer asked her, they were like, "Oh, how does the birth in season 10 compare to like your normal
Mhm.
birth in real life?" And she's like, "Well, it definitely isn't as public as it." I was like, you know what? Looking at the preview now for next week, I'm like, this is probably the most public birth I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's there when she goes into labor. Everyone's waiting outside to hear about the baby. It's
Yes.
great. It's
Yeah.
very very Hope Valley, very Rosemary and Lee.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, this is an episode that all of us and even Kevin and Pascal have waited for so long.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I am beyond excited for next week.
Me
Like
too.
I've been excited for the last few episodes, whatever, but this one I'm like I've been waiting for this one for years.
I
This
think we
one's
all
different.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's different than even the premiere or,
Yeah.
whatever. This one I've been waiting for forever, and I'm sure
Yes.
all Hardies out there can agree. So, I think it's
Yeah.
going to be great and I'm super excited.
Me too. Yeah. It'll be probably one of my favorites of the series.
For sure. Yes. I think it's going to be great.
I think they will, but I hope that they do this story justice with the birth.
I think they will. I mean, I've seen a few of the previews. There was a little preview in there where it actually showed Elizabeth and Rosemary reminiscing about when Elizabeth gave birth, and that gave me some hope that yes, they're gonna not just focus on what's going on, but also focus on how far it was to get here. So
yes,
I'm excited. I think they'll do. I think they'll do it justice. This is the whole season up to this point has basically been focused on Lee and Rosemary. So I do think it's gonna be no punches pulled. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have to admit that clip from the promo when Lee is talking and Lucas is sitting there as well. And he says, "I have felt a lot of things in my time with Rosemary. Love, joy, excitement, but I have never felt this help." And then it's like showing old clips. I'm like,
yes, when they did that, that's when you know it's a big milestone episode, is when they start showing flashbacks and you're just like, ah. Yes, that was amazing. For sure. Yeah.
Made me tear up a little when he said, "I've never felt this help." Like, oh, Lee.
Poor Lee.
But anyway, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah. Well, this was so much fun, as always, Theresa. Thank you for joining me for this episode and, of course, the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Of course. All right, Hearties. I think that wraps up our chat about When Calls the Heart, Season 10, Episode 3. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this review, you can like this video and let us know your comments about the episode in the comments. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Hallmark movies in general, you can subscribe to my channel. We hope you enjoyed and have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.